Ready?
I'd like to call the August 3rd, 2022 Finance Committee meeting for McLean County Board to order. And we have 5 of our 7 members present, so we have a quorum. So we will proceed with actions, and I need an approval or a motion to approve the meeting minutes of July 6, 2022 regular meeting. I have a motion. We have a motion by member Erickson and a second by member Lehman. Are there any additions, corrections, or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving those meeting minutes, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Are there any appearances by members of the public or county employees this evening?
There are not.
Very good. We'll move on to department matters, and that is, we'll start with Michelle Anderson. She's 4A, 1A, and that would be presentation and acceptance and placement on file of the single audit report for financial year ending December 31st, 2021. And may I have a motion to put that on file? And we have a motion by member Friedrich and a second by Vice Chair Thompson. And the floor is yours, Ms. Anderson.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon. I am going to actually introduce Hope Wheeler. You all met her in June, I think 2 months ago. I don't know. Whenever we presented the CAFR. And she's going to present this.
All right, thank you. My name's Hope Wheeler. I'm principal with Clifton Larson Allen. Just here to briefly talk about the single audit report that was just issued. This is the audit of your federal funds for 2021. And just to give a brief summary of it, your federal expenditures for 21 were $8.5 million. That's up 70% from the prior 2 years, which were $5 million each. So as you know, a lot of additional funding with everything going on to spend, which was a good thing. That did trigger us testing more programs. In the past couple of years, we've just tested 1 or 2 programs. This year, we were required to test 3 of the larger programs. Those programs this year were the ARPA funding, which was the largest piece, was what I would call a general county piece, and then a nursing home piece, the smaller piece. Then provider relief funding, which was tied to the nursing home, and contact tracing funding, which was tied to the health department. The good news is there are no material weaknesses found. You guys continue to be, for the federal audit purposes, classified as a low-risk auditee because you didn't have material weaknesses in your financial statement audit or in the single audit. There are a few items noted in the single audit report and related to other types of findings that fell below the threshold of the material weaknesses. Those really, it wasn't one grant in particular. It was some from each of those different grants that I mentioned. Mostly, just to talk about them in general, were errors in the reporting process, not that unallowable items were claimed. So it was errors in the reporting process, then errors in picking up expenses in a very specific grant period that only allows specific time frames, and then a couple on procurement or purchasing practices, documentation related to that. So overall, I thought considering all the new funding and a little more complex funding, that's still a good report and just really a good opportunity to take these notes and improve some internal controls. And I see these being pretty easy to make these go away in the future. That's all I wanted to report, but available for any questions.
Does any member have any questions for Ms. Wheeler or Ms. Anderson? If you do want to see those findings, I do have a copy, and they're found on page 14, 15, and 16, I believe. 16, 17, 14 through 18, so 4 pages, but not 4 pages of, I mean, just I think maybe 4 or 5 findings. So I do have that available if anyone would like to see that. If you want your own copy, I think Ms. Morlock can send you a copy of that. But as Ms. Wheeler said, corrections have or can easily be made. And I just want to thank Ms. Anderson and also acknowledge our treasurer, and I think probably Kathy Dreyer, for all the effort to not only do this, but as those funds came in, to know how to accurately report those. And I know that was a huge challenge, and I know Michelle Anderson was a key to that. So we just want to acknowledge that of all those partners. And I think, Ms. Wheeler, you would agree that that probably was quite a challenge.
It was, especially when I think about the ARPA rules, and they were ever changing, and pages and pages of them.
So, very good. Any other comments or questions? Thank you so very much. That means, and Ms. Anderson, do you have any other information that you need to share with us or would like to enlighten us with?
I don't believe so unless anyone has any questions.
No, I think we are, yes, Ms. Lehman.
Yeah, the only thing I would ask is, with the very few findings that you did have, as you look to go forward in the future, is there anything that we can do as a board to best support that, support any of the adjustments along the way?
You know, I can talk with Ms. Taylor and Ms. Dreyer, which is very hard to say when I'm looking at them. And we've been on so many conference calls, and Cassie and Kathy sound so much alike. I said, thank God I know their voices. And talk to them and kind of strategize. We found out about a majority of these findings within the last week. And so our focus has been getting responses back to Clifton and then getting it to you all. And I don't think we've really had a chance to digest and try to figure out a plan going forward. I will say that the feds have been very good. If you remember last year, there was the delay getting it to you because they gave us money but no rules. So there's just like a lot of changes going on. And then we've had a lot of personnel changes in some of the departments. So I think just kind of we need to sit down and then we can, if we need something from the board, I think Ms. Taylor, I could come back, circle back.
Totally fair. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
Thanks.
We will move on to 4B. Oh, yes, thank you. She reminded me. We need to vote. We have it on the floor, but we do need to vote to accept and place on file that single audit report. May I have, we already have the motion. All in favor of accepting the the single audit report, say aye. Yes. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll move on now to 4B1A, and that is Becky McNeil, who is on vacation, but she did provide us with the one financial report, well, actually two financial reports, the summary of tax review, and then the nursing home report. So those two reports are available for us, and so I want to have a motion for B1A, and that is to accept and place on file the county treasurer's monthly financial reports. And I have a motion by Member Erickson and a second by Member Friedrich. Any questions on these? I think we continue to see very much what we've seen before. Quite good tax revenue. The distributions that have taken place and gone to all the taxing bodies, we have 53.42% of those have been taken place. And then motor fuel money, you can see those continue to be positive. And I think we all, I don't know about anyone else, but coming into town, I run into both state and county and township use of those motor fuel tax monies. So be cognizant and careful as we travel through those construction areas. McLean County Nursing Home, we do have a report, and we continue to see what we've been seeing, and so we will need, I continue to have conversations with Ms. Taylor as well as Ms. Schaefer, because the nursing home falls in the health department. So we see the reports, and I will continue to discuss planning for what can be done or what is being done. I think we do know that our new nursing home administrator has been working very diligently and quite successful in improving numbers. So I think that is really the direction that we have been going to give some time. But we certainly need to continue to make plans if necessary. All right. Any questions regarding that? All right, we'll move on to 4B, 1B, and we need to vote. Goodness sakes, thank you very much. If Ms. Taylor wasn't here, we would not be getting this done. All in favor of accepting and placing on file the monthly fiscal reports, say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. I will tell you that Ms. McNeil said that she would provide us next month with both months' total reports. So hopefully I'll get this one right. 4B, 1B, and that is request approval of a resolution authorizing the county board chair to assign a tax sale certificate of purchase. And those are found on pages 5 to 10. May I have a motion for that? I have a motion by member, Vice Chair Thompson, and a second by member Erickson. And these appear to me, most of them, we have a couple that are not mobile homes, but we have a number that are also mobile homes. So it looks like two mobile homes and 2 regular real estate, which tend to be out in the rural areas, one in Saybrook and one in Chenoa. Does anybody have any questions related to those? This is unfortunately commonplace for us, but not real common, but it is common. All right, all in favor of requesting approval to authorize these signed tax sale certificates, say aye. Opposed? Very good. Motion passes. There are no new other items, so we'll move on to 4C, 1A, and that is Kathy Michael. She has no items for presentation, but 4C, 2A, the monthly reports are available. I did talk to her. Obviously, she is not here this evening. This must be the vacation month. But she did tell me that if anyone has any questions, please to reach out to her, and she would be very happy to share what information she knows about those reports. So that means we can move on to 4D, 1A, and that's Marshall Thompson and the Director of Animal Control. And Ms. Thompson is here. And I know, I want to put a P in that every single time. But so you have monthly reports, but you don't have anything for action, but you're more than welcome. Please share what information you have. Maybe anything on those monthly reports you want to highlight or anything that the team is doing.
I didn't have the reports in the packet this time. We had a small glitch in the system, and I had to have their IT chameleon fix it, so I will have them back in next month. The animal control program is doing really great. Our event that we had when we went to Baby Animal Days with Raider Family Farms, they were able to give us a nice donation of $400 towards medical. They did a proceeds from their event. So wanted to give a shout out to Raider Family Farms and say thank you for thinking of the animal control program. We have lots of kittens, rabbits, adult dogs, and a couple litter of puppies that will be available in the next weeks to come. So if anybody knows of family members or friends looking to add to their family, please think of animal control. I want to give a big shout out to our dedicated employees. They're doing a really good job keeping the facility clean and keeping the animals healthy and just, trudging right along and doing a great job. We're in bat season soon, so we'll start collecting bats that are within people's homes. And
Can you tell me when bat season is so I know to start watching?
right about now, so the bats start to they've weaned their cubs, kits. I'm not quite sure how they refer to them, but they start moving around, and as it starts getting changing and they start moving around, they fall down in places they're not supposed to be or get inside people's homes when they leave the windows open for fresh air as it starts to cool down a little bit. So our responsibility is for the Rabies Prevention program for McLean County. So if a bat is within someone's home or you're awake to it while you're sleeping or you pick it up accidentally thinking it's a sock or something on the floor, your cat brings it as a treat, we send those down to Illinois Department of Public Health to their lab for rabies testing. We monitor all that and keep everyone apprised and work with communicable disease at the health department. And so we want the McLean County Board to know we're doing that and protecting the community, and it's been doing a really good job. So our employees are doing great. And bats are neat, and they have a lot of beneficial environmental factors. They eat a bajillion mosquitoes. So we only collect the ones that are the rabies concerns, not the ones that are outside in their natural habitat or doing what bats do best. So, but if you have bat questions, I'm happy to answer any batty questions.
Or cat
you have.
questions, right?
Cat
Whatever
questions,
questions.
yeah.
It looks like Member Friedrich.
I suggest a spotlight with a bat.
Oh,
They'd be
that's a
really
no.
easy to catch.
That's. I'm supposed to create a bat signal like Batman.
Could you repeat that idea?
Yeah. We could do that and have it go in and out over the government center.
And our state's attorney's office would certainly appreciate that.
So we're also going to try to do an adoption event maybe in the next couple months. I still have to figure out a good day with administration and trying to have our puppies displayed when they're ready and available. So more to come on that one. But we have to, I got to put it all together. Impromptu funness.
Very good. Thank you.
Question.
Oh, we do have one more question.
I may have to come back. So we had some kittens, and we put them on Facebook, and they were like gone.
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming you use,
Oh, it's McLean County Animal Control Facebook.
yeah,
So
you use
we-
the same thing. Well, I think like the local town had a Facebook page, and
We have.
we had 2 litters, and they were gone like to new homes, 2 happy homes, right?
So our
We also have coyotes. They're good. So you got to be careful how I phrase it.
Our volunteer Angel comes out and takes these wonderful animal photos, and then we upload them to Facebook. We also have Chameleon software that automatically uploads to adoptmepet.org and Pet Finder. And so once we key it into the system, it goes out into informational land. And Delaney coordinates and sends out emails to local rescues and fosters, like an email blast. We have these animals that are seeking homes. Wishbone Canine Rescue in particular, they come out about once a week or once every 2 weeks, and they find out what we have a need for, and then they start petitioning their foster base, and they'll take those photos and send them out. So we have a really good working relationship within the community, and each rescue who has their specialty, when they have a space, they come and pull from us. And Humane Society Central Illinois Humane Society, they take a lot of cats. So we're really fortunate in that regards, and rabbits and some of the smaller pocket pets. But if you're needing anything, look at animal control. there's probably something there.
Are you going to have a presence out at the McLean County Fair? Just curious.
I can if you want me to, but I had not prepared for it in advance. I don't know, do we already have a county space we could share?
Yeah, maybe just
EMA?
for a little exposure, positive exposure,
If
you
you would
know?
like me to, I could.
Well,
certainly do
I
that.
just
I
an
usually-
idea.
I usually go out and just walk around and say hi to all of the 4-H and, look at the animals and just make a, hi, I'm here if you need me. Big supporters there. But we can put out adoption information. If it's not too hot, we could have, maybe in the cooler times, kittens or something out there. But we certainly can do that. I know I got a few signs that we can put out, and that's a great idea. I'll reach out to, okay, got it. But I wanted to say thank you for all your support, and I'm really looking forward to moving and grooving towards a new building.
Moving on, 4E, 1A, and that is Tim Jorzak, and that's the Supervisor of Assessments. I don't think you have anything for 1A, but you do have a report, I think, that you want to present, so that would be 4E, 2A. So
So thank you.
give us the good news. I'm not sure it is such a good news, but please.
Well, it's certainly news, and depending on your perspective, I mean, it's positive, but it's also impactful news. I wanted to give you folks an update on where we stand. We just started sending out assessment notices. Our first batch went out on the 27th. We're sending another group out tomorrow on August the 4th. We published, between those 2 days, we have published, I think it's 21 townships. You can see in the information I provided what those factors are for the townships that we have published. To be blunt, it's a very different year than we've had in the past. Our median factor at this point is somewhere in the ballpark of a 5% increase across increase in assessments across the county and the townships
And
that we
these
sent
are
out.
residential, correct?
Residential and commercial.
There we go.
This factor that you see here is applied uniformly across the township to residential, commercial, and industrial properties. It doesn't get applied to farms, doesn't get applied to anything other than that. So it does hit most of the properties, but farms, wind towers, and other special assessments like that don't receive equalization, but most properties do. So yeah, like I said, you can see that factor is in the median range of about 5%. Some townships are coming in lower than that. Some townships are coming in higher. The next batch, it's going to go out on the 11th. I've sent those notices out to the paper where they need to be published. Those are a little bit lower. Those are 2 to 3%. But you can see on the map, unfortunately, mine's not in color. I printed it out in black and white. But if they were in color, you would see they're kind of color coded by the areas of the county where they're going out. We are anticipating that we're going to have questions about that. Some of my assessors have, not my assessors, but some of the assessors have reported that they've been getting a little bit of an influx of phone calls based on these factors. So I wanted to bring to your attention an initiative that we're rolling out this year. We're holding, it's something I've been working with Treasurer McNeil and Clerk Michaels on. We're going to be holding public information sessions on the assessment notices and sort of to kind of give taxpayers an understanding of what the process is, why we're doing this, how they impact them, what they can do if they don't agree with it, and then just give them a primer overall on how the property tax process works. If you look in the packet, you can see there the dates of the 3 that I've got scheduled so far. There's going to likely be one more, at least one more, when Bloomington and Normal come out here later on in the next month or so. We'll schedule one for here downtown as well. But you can see we've got one next Tuesday in Stanford at the Allen Township Community Building, 5:30. There's one Friday, August 12th at Davis Lodge at Lake Bloomington at 5:30, and then Monday, August 15th at the Living Well Center in Leroy. You're more than welcome to come and listen in. I've worked with the Farm Bureau. Hopefully, they'll be able to provide some information out there as well about the meetings, and we can sort of inform folks what's going on.
May I suggest, and I just want our committee to know that Mr. Jorzak had sent out to, I believe, to member or Vice Chair Thompson and me, that the notices were going out, and there would be some significant increases for particular townships, of which one that I live in, and I'm the township supervisor for. It isn't a great thing to have to tell people, though. So I wanted to thank you for that, because I have reached out to, it's on our board meeting for next Wednesday, and then I've also reached out to Dry Grove Township, which is in our multi-township assessment district, and to talk to their supervisor to make sure that he and their clerk are aware. And I appreciate these public information sessions. Would it be possible that you email or send notices to the township supervisors? Because I think they would be able to, they might be interested, because sometimes we get the calls also, even though the assessors do. And I'm assuming the assessors for those different areas will actually be at these meetings?
Well, they've been informed that the meetings are going to be taking place. I can't make them come, but I have
And you've
let them know.
suggested them to attend?
I advise them strongly that people would like to hear what their perspective on it. But yeah, I have let them know when and where these are going to be.
Okay, very good. I just think that if I were attending, having a conversation with you is great, but having a conversation with that individual who is driving around and determining that my property should go up by 9% is a little more, it provides me a little bit more satisfaction. But thank you very
And
much.
I do know that, oh, you're very welcome. And I do know that from the conversations I've had with the townships, people have been, they've had a lot of questions. But the one township assessor I spoke to about it, he said that usually when folks find out that these are factors that are being applied to everybody, they're a lot more, I guess, understanding. They get it a little bit more. Sometimes they call and think, hey, you're picking on me. You're why did you raise my property 5%? When they find out that it's not just you, the entire township got a factor of 5%, they're a little bit more agreeable, because folks do pay attention. They see what's going on in the news, and they hear about what's going on with the real estate market. So they know that some of this stuff is understandable.
And it is, you and I met yesterday, and it is a 3-year average, correct? So it's a rolling 3 years. So even though we have seen a huge spike recently, it actually has not just been this year. It's been a consistent increase through the past 3 years.
Right. And so what will happen next year is the last year in the cycle will fall off. I think it's 2019. 2019 will fall out, and then 22 will come on. And the nature of a 3-year cycle, that is going to mean that, it mitigates increases. So we're not seeing 25% increases if we were only doing it by 1 year, like some jurisdictions, or like some areas do. But at the same time, because it's 3 years, you go a little bit longer. And so that's going to be something to keep an eye out on next year and the subsequent years.
Thank you. Any questions? Member Friedrich first, then we'll go to Member Lehman, and then Vice Chair Thompson.
What are some of the factors that differentiate differences between townships, like Cheney Grove at 0 versus something else? what are the key factors that gives you 0 or 4?
Okay, so there are multiple things that go into it. What's going on in the real estate market primarily? What kind of sales are happening in that area is a driver of it. How much reassessment the township assessor did is another component. The assessor in Cheney's Grove did a lot of reassessment on his own this year. If he does if he brings those assessments up, then I don't have to. So the more work they do at the township level, and I shouldn't say it that way that they're not doing work, but the more changes they make at the township level, the more they bring it up, that narrows that gap from then what I have to do. So that's another driver. If you look at it though, if you were to put this county in a heat map, you would see that the largest increases are going to be out here in the west and northwest side of the county, where that's where Rivian is, and that's where we're seeing, you're seeing a lot of sales from people maybe trying to get a little bit closer to that side of town. And so what's going on in the real estate market as a whole is also can determine how high that factor goes. So like I would expect that, so for Bloomington, City of Bloomington, they generally do a lot of reassessment work over the course of the year on their own. They sort of micro target how those increases go on. They haven't had a multiplier or they haven't had a factor the entire time that I've been in McLean County. So from when I worked there and now here, it's been 9 years, and they've had a multiplier of 1 that entire time because they do so much work at the township level. It's probably going to change this year because it's almost impossible to keep up with the market as it is right now. But it sort of goes into the amount of reassessment that's done at the township level mitigates how much we have to do at the county level.
Apologies if I'm a bit daft, but I was hoping that you could explain for me the color coding on the map.
Okay, yeah, no
and how
problem,
that
no
breaks
problem.
down. Thank you.
I'm going to try my best because this is in black and white. If I believe the green that's the first, all that is, the color coding is just when they went out. So the green townships are the ones that went out on July 27th. The yellow townships are the ones that went out on August 4th. And then the orange are going to be the ones that are going out on August 11th. The remaining ones, I'm expecting Lexington and Gridley by Monday. They should have their books in, and so they should go out here in the next week and a half. Those will be done. The only ones then that'll be left are Bloomington and Normal. I'm expecting Normal in midway through the month. I haven't heard from Bloomington yet on when they're going to have their stuff in. Old Town Township, the one in gray, they are in, they are ready to go. The township assessor requested that I hold their publication off until he's got some personal stuff that he's tending to. So he's gonna be unavailable up until later on. So I'm holding those off, but Old Town is done as well. You're welcome.
Yes, so
Vice
you
Chair.
said 19's going off now, so it's 19, 20, 21.
Right, this year is 19, sales from 19, 20, and 21. Next year will be sales from 20, 21, and 22.
So we essentially could, it's probably been escalating at a pretty rapid pace anyway, but
Yeah.
that trend is going to continue.
Yeah, if you looked at our 1-year ratio for just, what year are we, 2022, from January 1st to now, it's really low. It would be if we were just working off of that one little tiny slice of sales for that 1 9-month period or so, you would have a factor of about 25% to bring it up to market value.
Well, my concern is, I don't know what we do about it, but tax bills are raising, and along with every other thing that people are buying and struggling with, and yeah, it's just one more brick
Well,
to throw on the.
One thing you have to keep in mind, just because assessments are increasing does not mean that property taxes are de facto going to increase. If I had a magic wand and I just said, I'm going to raise everybody's assessment by 50% across the entire county, we're all getting bumped up by 50% uniformly across the board. All that would happen is, if nothing else changed, the tax rate would drop to commensurate that, or to be commensurate with that, and the tax bill itself wouldn't change. So the spending decisions that are made are as impactful, if not more impactful, about what goes into the tax bill than just what the assessment is. All we're doing in the assessor's office is making sure that that tax burden is spread out evenly, and that everybody is being treated at the same level.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of my point. I mean, not that I'm kind of a short-termer, but that's going to be a challenge for the coming finance committees to deal with. So, thank you.
And I can tell you that our township made some decisions to lower tax rates significantly, but we are such a tiny piece of the tax bill, I'm not sure anyone will notice. So, the school districts tend, to be the highest. But, Member Friedrich,
Give me your best estimate of the years of service average for all the assessors.
Of all the township assessors?
Yeah, how many, and years of service and training, skill.
We have 31 townships. We do not have 31 assessors. We have a lot of assessors who are multi-township or who contract out to different ones. So I'm thinking, I know the city of Bloomington, I know Steve has been in the office for 10 years as the assessor, and he was in the office for another 5 or 6 prior to that as an employee. The normal township assessor, Rob Cranston, and he has a very well-trained staff. Rob has the highest designation you can receive. He's got the CAE like I do from the IAAO. He's been in this industry forever. As far as the multi-townships go, Tim Grucey, who has a lot of townships out in the northern and eastern part of the county, he's been doing this for a lot of years. The newest assessor we have is Justin Milton, who Glenn, his dad, has been around for a long time. Justin has been around the industry for a long time as well, and I think he works with Glenn closely on training, things like that. Let's see. So I mean, I think they are all well trained. They are all I know they have all held designations at one point or another from the state of Illinois Department of Revenue. And the ones that don't have held the ones that don't currently have held them in the past or are licensed real estate appraisers. Is that the answer you're looking for?
I can tell you that if they are elected, they are required. They cannot be elected unless they have all their certifications up to date. And the township, the multi-township assessment districts or the township assessment district will has to keep track of that and pay for those trainings, or at
Yes.
least we do.
Right. So yeah, we have, let me see here, 1, 2, 3. I think we probably have 5 or 6 elected township assessors. I think Justin is probably the only assessor who is not elected in a township. All the rest of them are elected in one township and then contracted out or appointed in another township. Justin's the only one who's not elected in a township.
Any other questions? Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. And I'm always available downstairs if you want to pop in. We can go over this. I had a nice talk with Member Metzger yesterday. Kind of went over some stuff specific to White Oak Township because that's where the questions were generated. If you want to talk specifically about your township or townships, I'm happy to help.
Very good, thank you. We'll move on to 4F1A, and that is request approval of a resolution amending the fiscal year 2022 full-time equivalent position resolution for a grant required and funded position in the Health Department. And may I have a motion to put that on the floor? Member Lehman, and we have a second by Vice Chair Thompson. And Ms. Taylor, I don't know if you want to go ahead or if you want our department head to come. It doesn't,
So I just got the nod from Jessica that she's comfortable with me introducing
Okay.
this. But she is here if I cannot answer any of the questions related to this. I think the thing that I would like to point out here is for this FY '23 grant, our AOK contract includes a new requirement, and that is what is the impetus for this change to add a FTE called a Family Engagement Specialist to this grant. It will be 100% grant funded, and you have the documentation there to support that.
does anyone have any questions? I do have, and I think I probably know the answer, but, so this grant is for how long?
It runs.
I'm trying to find that.
It runs the state fiscal year, so it began July 1 of '22 and runs through June 30th of '23.
And it's
on the state
renewable?
fiscal year. Yes.
And should we not get the grant, then the position goes away. Is that accurate? I mean, I'm not saying that's what I want. I'm just saying, I believe that's the general procedure.
So
correct?
our general policy for the county is that if a grant-funded position goes away, that doesn't necessarily mean the person goes away. We would try our best to absorb them in some other position or program, but that is typically how it works, where if the grant funds go away, those are reorganized without those positions.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor of approving this resolution for an additional position for a grant-funded position in the Health Department, please say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. For F2A, anything else that we need to discuss?
I have no other items to present this evening, no.
All right, we do have bills to pay, so that we're at number 5. And we have total well, we have Michelle Anderson has said that she's reviewed the bills. They comply to the adopted ordinances, resolutions, and policies in the county code. And the total amount is $758,424.01. May I have a motion to pay the bills? We have a motion by Member Friedrich and a second by Member Lehman. All in favor of accepting these bills and getting them paid, say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. It doesn't appear that we have, do we have any other business or communication? Seeing none, I think we're adjourned. Thank you very much.